All right. The Sort of Sports Podcast presents The Big Salad.
If it was a regular salad, I wouldn't have said anything. But you had to have the big salad!
Hosted by the one and only Quinn Maseko.
Thank you, Ryan. We're back, baby!
I'm back, baby! I'm back! Want some mango?
Here for season 2 of the Sort of Sports Big Salad podcast. Now I'm finally back from my hiatus. It's not really been a vacation, it's just been a lot of mowing of yards. But, as maybe some will appreciate this, but I feel right now I'm gonna channel my inner game show lover self here of Match Game, and I'm going to show this clip, if we got the clip here, of Charles Nelson Riley, who was on Match Game in the 70s. He was gone for a season for directing a play in New York, and he made a special entrance, and this is how I feel coming back here to the microphone. And I'm finally back. It's glad to be back, right? It's good to be back and back in the booth.
We had the summer off. I did some episodes by myself, but now we're back on the Big Salad weekly show. Yes. And what better way to start than the NFL season coming up?
Yes, exactly. But before we get to NFL season, we're going to talk about a couple other headlines. The first one is Saturday's loss to Georgia for Clemson. What does that loss tell us about the upcoming season for the Tigers, Ryan?
Well, I am not a big Clemson backer. I have to give a lot of credit to Dabo Swinney and their whole recruiting team and the coaching. They've put out some incredible talent and had some great seasons lately. But this shows that Georgia isn't the. There's a famous Kevin Durant interview he did a couple years back where he was like, "I'm tired of being second best." They always do that with Bama, where they're tired of being second best, being the little brother. And for once, they're now looking like the big dogs, the Georgia Bulldogs. Yeah. And basically being like, yeah, we are, a top team, and I think there's a good chance right now we're looking at it's looking like 16 playoff. So, more teams are going to get in the playoff, but right now we're looking like Clemson might not make the playoff. And I think that makes a lot of people happy. They're a very hated team, but that's really tough when you're Clemson because you get the expanded playoff. But if Georgia doesn't lose any game except one to Alabama, or vice versa. I mean, if Georgia beat Alabama this year, that would make them the top SEC school, which would be pretty crazy.
Right.
I mean, LSU did a year. It would back in 2019.
LSU won't be doing it this year.
No,
They'll
definitely
not
not
be doing that.
But it's looking like a good year. I mean, Iowa State is a school you got to watch out for. They've got a really good program down there. Notre Dame
rivalry. It's interstate rivalry this week. Yes.
Notre Dame is, as always, a threat. Yes. So, I mean, for Clemson, this is
almost lost it after being up 20.
Exactly.
But yes.
Yeah. And for Clemson, this is not as much of a cakewalk as some other years have been for them.
Correct.
So if they don't watch it, I mean, a team like Iowa State might take their spot. Because Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, right now at this point, I'd be shocked if they weren't in the playoff.
Right.
Oklahoma's a really good pick.
Yeah.
Iowa State, more of a fringe. But Texas A&M's always a decent pick. And it's like Clemson, that loss to Georgia really messes things up because a team like Iowa State, they're not going to play a team like that. So if Iowa State,
they're going to play Iowa.
Yes, but if they beat Iowa,
are they not going to play Oklahoma in the Big 12?
That'll probably be the big game. That would be the one.
Gotta look it up real quick. Look it up.
So they'd probably be the Big 12 championship, though. I don't think they're going to play them during the regular season.
Depends what division they are. Yes.
So while Quinn's checking that, I did want to say there was a lot of young new quarterbacks. The one I thought stood out the most was obviously Alabama's Bryce Young. He had an incredible game out of the big schools.
Well, that was good competition for Alabama.
Yes, it was.
Off the season.
I mean, and that's I think to be honest, Bama right now looks like the best team. But granted, that's like saying that the most popular, like the best drink is Coke, because it's pretty obvious. Everyone knows that.
Yes.
So,
I mean, they won the Cola Wars in the 80s, if you were around for that. We know you were, Chad Holt. But anyway, brief pause. Yes, Iowa State will play at Oklahoma November 20th.
Okay, that'll be a big game.
They still have to play Texas as well, and Texas is
that'll be a big game. So I'm saying a team like Iowa State or Oklahoma, whoever wins that game is probably a definite for the playoffs. as long as they haven't lost any random games by then.
Right.
So for Clemson, it's not a dire, you're not making the playoffs, but it has become significantly harder. But I love when teams during the regular season schedule some big games. I'm like, it's ballsy, but it pays off when you're Georgia. Because if you're Georgia and you lose to Bama now, you still have that win over Clemson.
Right.
Which helps you a lot when it comes to playoff time. And I'm very happy they expanded it to 6 teams. I think it's really good for college football, and it's obviously going to bring them in more money from a television perspective.
Right,
so.
Exactly. I mean, it was a pretty big, when they started doing the New Year's 6, it was a pretty big flop TV ratings-wise, and they didn't get as much money coming in as possible. So I do like the expansion. I thought it would go to 8.
Yeah.
I thought it should have went to 8, and it makes more sense because now you're giving 2 teams buys.
It'll eventually be 8.
But it'll be 8 at some point. But you think maybe the 6 oldest bowls and they duke it out there and somehow. But yeah, I do like the more high profile non-conference games starting out. I mean, Ohio State's got to play
those.
Oregon this week.
Yep.
Michigan State, my team's got to play Miami. I mean, there's just some very big high profile matchups which are
it's better for college football because
intriguing.
that's always been a thing that plagued college football is you watch every game. I mean, it's very pageantry based. Everybody watches their teams every game, and there's probably like one standout game for Ohio State every year. You know, we live in the state of Ohio, so and that's Michigan, and anymore they're not that good. So it's like if you're a big fan of a team, you really just wait till conference championship time. And for some schools, I mean, Big Ten football has fallen off. It's definitely a basketball conference anymore.
It's always been a basketball.
Well, I'm saying especially now. I mean, we used to have Saquon Barkley in this conference, so.
Okay.
I'm saying things have changed.
I know, but they still have. I think they have 6 teams ranked right now.
Right now, yeah. Yeah. Well, it's out of the Big 5. I mean, out of the Power 5, it's
the Big Ten has the most that are ranked.
I
mean, it's either them or the SEC.
It's probably the
Let's
SEC.
Count it up. Let's count it.
Now you got to check it.
While
You
Ryan,
check that.
Ryan's gonna fill space.
While he checks that, I'm gonna say another quarterback that looked good was honestly, even though they lost, DJ Uiagalelei. He looked solid, which...
Oh, I will say this, because we got that pronunciation from Google Translate.
Yeah.
Well, it was wrong, because
Dang it.
Reese Davis was saying DJ Uiagalelei, even though the last part of his name is spelled L-E-L-E-I. So wouldn't you think it would be Lele?
Yeah.
But it's DJ Uiagalelei. I don't know why. But anyway, I was going to throw that out, too, about Happy Trails to Google Translate pre-Happy Time. We don't use you anymore because you don't know how to pronounce things. But anyway, back to you.
I love it when the schools... It's like there's a big change of the guard in college football, and this is where it is right now, where a lot of your big schools have new quarterbacks. I mean, Oklahoma's really the only one that has the same one as last year, and Rattler, has high expectations because of that.
Right.
I mean, Sam Howell for UNC was pretty hyped up, but then they lost, so, that kind of killed that. But, granted, ever since Mitch Trubisky, drafting a quarterback from North Carolina has a bad taste in my mouth. Even though I'm not a Bears fan, I'm just saying Mitch Trubisky is Mitch Trubisky. So, Quinn, what's the results? Which conference has the most ranked teams?
Okay, we got 4 for the Big Ten.
4 for the Big Ten.
6.
SEC.
SEC.
That's what I figured.
Guys get the nod.
Yeah, it's all right. Well, I mean, SEC is the football conference, and whenever the merger comes in, we're going to have to talk about that.
The alliance.
The alliance and everything. I think
alliance.
you might as well at this point just make 2 conferences. The SEC and
everybody else.
Everyone else. The big blank and the SEC, and you pick a side.
Yep. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like these big alliances. I don't like. I think
you get better regular season games though.
You do.
And you get better conference championships. So that's cool.
Okay.
That's good.
That's
that feeds into what we talked about, where the regular season would be stronger.
Right. But I guess I don't like all the good teams being on one page. I don't want Oklahoma to join the SEC because that makes the SEC stronger.
I agree. No, I completely understand, but I think
make any sense.
That's the way things are moving. But that does give you better regular season games, which is nice.
True. This is true. But all right, before our NFL predictions for the 2021 season, we're going to briefly talk about MLB and the rising use of shifts in the infield.
Yes.
And in my opinion, if you have not seen an MLB game, you can see I'll take Joey Votto for an example, since he's on the Reds, that when he's up to bat, typically what happens is the first baseman hugs the first baseline. The second baseman will move into a shallow right, and then the shortstop will move all the way and play basically a more up the middle second baseman. And the third baseman will play about where a natural shortstop would play. And it's very unfair advantage for
defense.
For the defense because they, it's harder now for an offensive player to try and hit the ball through having 3 defenders on one side when it's typically only 2.
Yeah.
So what do you think about making a rule that says you cannot?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my rule proposal would be, and I'll just see what your opinion you think would be. If you are playing up the middle, you cannot cross second base to start out for a play. Let's say it that way. And you have to be in the infield on the infield dirt. You cannot be in the grass either.
I think you should limit the shift, but not get rid of it altogether. So I've heard a proposal that's like you have to have. You still have to have. You can only have essentially like there can only be one like zone if you broke the field up into zones that can have 2 players in it, if that makes sense. So you'd still have shifts, but it would be less dramatic of shifts. Does that make sense? Like right field.
Well, I guess that's what I'm saying.
If you had 2 people in by the first baseline, that's the only one you can have 2 people, and you can't just do the thing they do with Joey Gallo, where they all just go to one side.
Right.
Because I enjoy it because I think it's interesting from a statistical perspective, but because of the way baseball is, we're entering like the new dead ball era because we have so many stats that can read where a hitter is gonna land the ball that we can actually basically predict things really accurately.
Right.
Which is making it harder to hit.
Right.
So that's why, people are like, well, guys can't hit anymore. And I'm like, partially they're teaching a lot more to hit for home runs. Guys like Aaron Judge are a lot more frequent where they're just home run hitters and they don't really hit for average.
Right.
But on another note, there's also it's a lot like you're saying, it's a lot harder to get a hit. So, Pete Rose's numbers would go down if he played during the shift. It's just true.
Right.
So.
Well, maybe not because he was a switch hitter.
That's also true.
So he can beat the shift a little bit.
But regardless, I think they should definitely limit it. But I think it's a good thing for baseball, and I think it makes games more interesting. I think.
Right.
So
I guess my thing.
It gives advantage to teams. It gives advantage to teams like the Tampa Bay Rays that use statistics to help their team.
Right.
And I think that's good because not all teams have Ozzie Smith, so you can make up for it by using your brain.
Yeah.
So,
well,
granted, no one has ever had Ozzie Smith except the Cardinals. So,
I guess how you limit the shift in my thing is that if you don't allow for a middle infielder to cross second base onto the opposite side, so you can't make the second baseman cannot go onto the left side or the shortstop cannot go onto the right side. You basically limited it. You cannot cross that.
Yeah.
At least to start off the play. Now I'm saying if the ball's there, obviously you can go get it. But I think this might dramatically change the shift, but I think it limits, if you don't allow for them to go into the outfield grass to start a play, I think that limits, it might alter the shift. It doesn't hinder it completely, but I guess that's also getting away that the outfielder should be making that play. I don't
know what exactly to do, but something I think needs to be done to limit it.
Same thing when sometimes they send an infielder out to play via fourth outfielder. Not only in desperate situations, but I've seen other times where it's been they send a fourth outfielder out there, which is, I don't know if that should be legal.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think that's what I'm saying with the zones thing, where it's like, yeah. I've seen multiple proposals. I do think something needs to be done, but granted, baseball is the most archaic sport. They don't change things often, and when they do, it's by accident.
Pastime. Yeah.
So,
I'm going to go back to your hitting point real quick, but I think after they started cracking down on checking the pitchers every inning or every other inning or whatever, and hitting's been better.
Hitting has been better.
So I would say if the MLB I think they should keep that up at least for next. I think it probably should be kept up all the time, but next year you're going to do it all season. So now you're going to have a full season of statistics on there, and then you can compare those to 2019, and say, okay, this is when a lot of the use of the spider tack or whatever you want to call it was getting used, and now it's not. So did the average go from 230 to 260 or whatever?
Exactly.
Instead of having to move the mound back another foot.
Yeah. Yep.
But All right. Into the big part of the first episode. Episode 9 overall of the series. Episode 1 of Season 2. The NFL predictions for the 2021 season. And we're going to begin today with the division winners. And we are going to start with Ryan in the AFC. And we'll start with the AFC East.
Okay, good. I don't want to go north first because that is where your Steelers play. And living in Ohio, I always keep my eye on the Browns. And I kind of have a bit of a love affair with the Browns at the moment because I really like Nick Chubb. So, Nick Chubb's kind of my guy. So, all right, NFC East.
AFC East.
AFC East is what I meant to say. Sorry, AFC East. It's been a bit. AFC East. Now here, I feel like there's a very obvious choice, and I think we both picked Bills. Correct?
We did.
Now my only drawback was, I think the Patriots are going to see some improvement from. I know you're rolling your eyes a little bit.
Yeah, I'm a lot.
But I loved the pick in Mac Jones. We talked about that after the draft. Thought that was perfect.
I don't know if I loved it.
I loved it for them. I think the Jets are going to be the Jets. Maybe they show some improvement, but I really liked Zach Wilson, but I also didn't like...
Jets. Yes. Anyway.
I didn't like the fact he went to the Jets because, of course, they're known for being the Jets. So, I mean, if I got a 4-13 season out of them, I would not be surprised. Dolphins are really the second best team in this division by far. But the Patriots, I'm saying, they're developing, they're getting better. So, keep an eye on them in the next couple years, but this is still a cakewalk year for the Bills, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Ryan.
A lot of outlets have
selection.
Josh Allen winning MVP.
Yes, they do. I might agree with that. But I will select the Bills to win the AFC East division. The only thing I think it's going to hinder the Bills, and it will hinder them at some point, is their underwhelming pass rush on defense and their lack of ability to run the ball on offense, too, if it's not Josh Allen.
Yes.
So
Zach Moss has got to step up.
That's what's going to kill them. If they do not, if Josh Allen, I mean, I saw with my own team last year, if you're going to have your quarterback throw 50, 60 times a game at some point, obviously he's younger and more mobile, but at some point, it's just not going to, you can't keep going.
Get Mitch Trubisky warmed up, boys. They're going to have to take him out.
Yeah, that's not happening.
He's the backup.
I know he is. Doesn't mean he's
the
good.
only ever.
He actually played well in the preseason.
The only ever Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards game MVP. Just saying.
Yeah. There'll be more of those this year. I believe there were 3 games.
Really?
Well,
yes. Crap. He's not going to be the only one.
Well, he brought it, but they brought in the ratings with the kiddies. So, got to get him
I would love the idea that, that game, and, this is some alternate reality crap, but, that game turned a bunch of kids into Mitch Trubisky fans. That'd just be hilarious to me. It probably didn't.
I think it's more of the NFL targeting younger viewers because they say Gen Z, your generation. Yeah. Sometimes they say it's my generation, but I will fervently be a millennial by 3 months. And but that Gen Zers are not watching professional sports. I mean, no matter what the sport is, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, gymnastics, anything, they just do not have the attention span for 3 hours to watch a game. So I see that's why they're targeting that through Nickelodeon.
Makes sense.
It does make sense, but
biggest kids channel. I mean,
yes. Yeah, I mean, it used to be Noggin, but they
Yeah.
got bought out by Nick Jr. But anywho, yes, back to the Bills. I think they should be able to carry this division easily. Still some questions around Tua and the Dolphins, and supposedly rumors that they're still trying to get Deshaun Watson. So who knows? But anyway, we'll move on to the AFC West. And who do you got there, Ryan?
Well, if I didn't say Chiefs, we should all come and hunt me down. Because it's the Chiefs.
We'll hunt you down.
Unless some terrible injury would happen, it's the Chiefs. And Mahomes says he wants to go 17-0. I don't think they're going to go 17-0, but that would be pretty freaking sweet. So,
got the Steelers
Mahomes
in
is
there.
still the best. Brady might be the greatest of all time, but I think Mahomes right now is still the best going on any given day. So, I think it's Chiefs. Hopefully they got the offensive line fixed. But I mean, this division is not going to be a cakewalk in the future because the Chargers are coming up. Yes. I love Justin Herbert. I love what they got going on there. Mm-hmm. And I think Austin Eckler might have a good year for them.
Yes, should. And they have Derwin James back.
Yep. And they still got Joey Bosa.
Yes.
And that defense is good. So
they did lose Melvin Ingram.
They need some better secondary, but overall, I mean,
Yeah, they should be decent.
they should be a good team. They should go. I mean, I have them in the wild card. I'll tell you that right now. When we talk about wild cards, I have Charger making the wild card. We can talk about that later. But I'm saying this division's still pretty easy for the Chiefs, but it's much like I talk about the Patriots, except the Chargers are much better than the Patriots. In a couple years, it's not going to be that way. So the Chiefs have to make sure they're keeping up. So that's my thoughts on this division. I'm guessing you have similar ones here.
Yes, the Chiefs are going to take the AFC West. But again, the big question is, like I did with the Bills, this question will be all about the offensive line.
Yep.
They've rebuilt. They cut 2 Pro Bowlers, which I know they were aging, but they still cut 2 Pro Bowlers at tackle after the disastrous Super Bowl game on offense. So, I mean, I'm actually going to do a little... I mean, I'm very high on the Chargers as well, but I'm going to do a little dark horse here. I think the Raiders could improve this year because it seems like...
Josh Jacobs is good.
Yes, and Derek Carr has improved each year under John Gruden's system.
He
so
has.
this is year 4, so maybe they'll do something.
I still stand by if Aaron Rodgers does really leave the Packers, which who knows is going on at this point.
Right.
I think he'd go to the Broncos, and that would make this division crazier. I mean,
Yes.
because the Raiders aren't
the
bad.
Broncos have that I've heard from their team, quote, they're going to try and be the top defense in the league. So
Yeah.
they might be able to hold themselves up with that, even though
And they've
do
got a
not
nice
have
receiving
good
core.
quarterback play.
They've got a nice receiving
Yes,
core.
but not a good quarterback to
Yeah,
throw it
exactly.
to. That's most of the game.
Yeah, that's
you got to
most of
throw it.
Jerry
So,
Jeudy, right?
They got Jerry Jeudy.
Yep.
Yes, they do. And Cortland Sutton.
Yep.
If he's still there.
I
Anywho.
think he is.
Okay. All right, we're going to move on to the unexciting AFC South.
Good. We're ending with the North.
Good. They're obviously
see,
always the winners.
That's true.
That's right.
Because the Browns... I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I was really talking about a Civil War joke, but never mind. That didn't work.
Oh, yeah, that also
a
works.
union, yes. Anyway, go ahead.
AFC South. See, when the Colts had Prince Harry, Carson Wentz, for longtime listeners of the pod, I had a lot of faith in them. But now I obviously don't. So, Titans all the way.
They still have him.
Jonathan
They
Taylor.
still have him.
Well, he's hurt.
Okay, but he's going to be back.
No, Jonathan Taylor can't completely carry that team. He's
I know
great.
that.
The Titans are the better team. They got Julio Jones, which
No, I
also
agree with
pushes.
that.
A.J. Brown's great.
Yeah.
I mean, Derrick Henry's the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
From a running back altogether, it's probably McCaffrey because he can receive. But just from a running-only perspective, it's Henry. So
Yes.
Henry's incredible, and he has basically fought the narrative that running backs can only have a couple of good years and they fall off. He's fighting that narrative as we speak. And Tannehill's extremely underrated. He's a great starter for them. I mean, if the Titans got going, Quinn, I could see them being honestly a Super Bowl team if they got going at the right time.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, they should have been. I mean, when they played the Chiefs,
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years ago, they should have been in.
That was a big shock to everybody at the time because Derrick Henry was just kicking. Everybody was like,
And
"What's
they were destroying them. What was it, 28-7 at one point?
But then
24-7?
Mahomes turned it on,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
That was when Mahomes decided he was all of a sudden Lamar and started running all over the place.
Yes.
That was a
I
crazy
do
good
remember
game.
that. But yes, I concur with the Titans here taking
Jaguars
the
got a
South.
couple years to develop.
Not too many questions around the Titans. They should bring back a decent defense. I mean, their pass rush is a little underwhelming as well with the Bills, but offensively they should be there. Their play-action game usually runs well thanks to Derrick Henry, and I'm looking forward to going to. Hopefully, my father's not listening to this, and he doesn't anyway. So, hopefully. They'll be good, and the Steelers will be good because I'm going to the Steelers-Titans game, which is at the end of December, the week before Christmas. So hopefully it's not snowing, and it's a good game. That's all I want. And I want to see.
It'll probably be a good game.
And I want to see Derrick Henry.
I don't blame
in
you.
person.
Derrick Henry would be awesome
He's going to
in
be.
person.
Yes, he's going.
Jaguars will probably not have a good record, but I think you're going to see a lot of good stuff from Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
And honestly, I think you could really see the Jaguars being buyers at either the deadline or next offseason because
I think definitely the next offseason.
if Michael Thomas becomes available and the Saints have a bad year, I could 100% see the Jaguars going out and
well,
getting him.
I think that Urban Meyer is an attractive piece for people to want to come.
And Michael Thomas is Ohio State. I don't know why that's when I graduate, but I'm saying if the Saints had a bad
Right.
year, they have one of the best wide receivers in the NFL.
Right.
He's hurt right now.
Right.
He comes back, he's not happy with what's going on. And they're
Right.
like, well, we're going to ship you off for some picks and some future things from the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence is number one wide receiver for the next 5 years.
Right, but they got to rebuild that defense. That's
Oh, yeah.
more important.
Oh, it's a
They just
long-term
shipped
project.
away Joe Schobert.
Oh, yeah.
the
It's a
Steelers,
long-term
so-
project, but they've become a very attractive destination really fast.
Right. All right. Finally, to the AFC North for the division winner there.
Browns. Doing it. Taking the Browns.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with the Browns as well.
Woo!
And I'm not ceding that the Steelers are going to be awful. I'm going to give a little preview that I do have the Steelers in as the top wild card, playing the Browns in the wild card game.
Oh, boy.
So it's just reverse of last year now going to Cleveland.
Now, do you think by next year this division could see every single team make the playoffs? Because Burrow's going to look good this year. I think Burrow's going to have a good year.
I'm not against Cincinnati. I think Baltimore.
It's Baltimore. Baltimore's weak. My issue. Can I do a little quick Lamar Jackson tangent?
Just go.
Really quick Lamar Jackson thing. Me and my friends were just talking about this. When Mahomes had his really good MVP year, 2018, everybody's like, well, let's see what happens second year. Because you always got to see if it was a one-hit wonder type thing. Is he two-dimensional? Mahomes added the running to his game. He added more reads. He did a lot of things, and he proved he was that guy, and that's why he won the Super Bowl that year. That was Lamar's big MVP year. Last year, we were supposed to see a Lamar deep playoff run, supposed to see Lamar add a new dimension to his game. We didn't see that.
Not at all.
And that's what I'm saying. If Lamar doesn't add a new dimension to his game this year, I think he's a one-trick pony. Honestly, this is a make-or-break year for Lamar
You're spending too much time with Fizzle, one-trick pony.
One-trick pony, that's
racing.
true.
Anyway.
But I'm saying this is a make-or-break year for Lamar.
Right.
And the Ravens aren't going to trade him or anything. I mean, Trace McSorley, best quarter. I'm kidding. They just dropped Trace. But they're not going to drop him or anything. But I'm saying it's going to look weird when you're the Ravens because he's your franchise quarterback, obviously. You gave him a huge extension.
Right.
But
early.
Do you think he can win a Super Bowl? And this will be the year that shows if Lamar Jackson's a Super Bowl-ready quarterback.
Right. Yeah, I think there's a lot of questions around the Ravens. A lot of predictors have them. Some have them on the outside of the wild card. Some have them outside looking in. I'll be interested to see what happens. Again, my questions are going to lie with the. I have questions for the Browns and the Steelers. For the Browns, to begin with, is how well will the offense gel with Odell Beckham Jr. back? Because in my opinion, and I said this to Ryan multiple times last year, is that the Browns' offense looked way better with OBJ out of it than it did with him in it. And I think it's because Mayfield has less pressure on him to give passes to OBJ and Landry at the same time, just to focus on Landry and still have his slot guys and Higgins and his tight ends.
I think Stefanski's going to make Jarvis the 1, Beckham the 2, and probably Donovan Peoples-Jones the 3. I really like Peoples-Jones.
What about Higgins?
And then Higgins 4. And maybe him and Peoples-Jones flip back and forth.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really good wide receiving core. My thing with the Browns is, honestly, their quarterback's the third best part of that team from an offensive perspective. The best part about that team is the defense.
Yeah, I mean,
and then the running game.
Lose a couple
the
pieces,
defense and the running game.
They lose a couple pieces, though.
I'm going to say right now.
Clowney, and I don't think Clowney's going to be filling.
I don't think Clowney's going to be I think Clowney's more of a name than a talent type thing. Right. But Myles Garrett, for my money, is the best defensive player in the NFL. Right. We'll talk about that more later when I get to my awards. Quick thing, I'm not doing the Comeback of the Year award, but it's probably going to be Joe Burrow as long as the Bengals win 5 games. I mean,
okay, they got to win more than 5 games to be a comeback.
Fine, 8 games. If they go above 500, he'll win Comeback Player of the Year.
Okay.
Just saying. Well, I like what the Bengals have going on, but they're not nowhere near what they need to be.
Right.
Jamar Chase is a good pick. I think it's
called they need to fire Zach Taylor and get a new guy in there.
This will be the year for Zach. Yes. He's on the hot seat.
And if we know this, who's also on the hot seat.
Who?
Go Tigers. Coach O, baby.
I know.
So how about LSU fires him at the end of the year? Zach Taylor gets fired by Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, now you're thinking.
Higher, baby,
now, honestly, you know what I'm scared of is I think if they fire Zach Taylor, they hire Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator for the Panthers that used to be with LSU. Because I love Joe Brady.
But
I would be afraid as a Steelers fan.
I wouldn't be because the defense will be there. Back to my questions about the Steelers now.
Yeah.
The secondary is going to be the biggest question for the Steelers on defense. I mean, they released Steven Nelson, which I still think was wrong, who was almost, who was not, in 2019 campaign did not have a touchdown scored on him at all. I think that's pretty good. Mm-hmm. But, and then on offense, it's going to be how well is the offensive line play? The whole offensive line that was there last year is literally been given the Shepherds taken off the stage, and there's 5 new guys out there. And we're going to see if they can gel to this Sunday, as they got the Bills. But the Bills do have an underwhelming pass rush. And if it's still there, it might have to wait until later on in the season to
They
get
did make
tested.
a great pick in getting Harris, though.
They did. So I think the offense will be better this year. I think it'll be more dynamic. Plus the new offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
Doing a lot
that's
more
true.
new things. But anyway,
As long as Ben cannot age, the Steelers will be competitive.
I think, and here's a bold prediction right now. Ben will be back next year. He will be back for 2022.
Oh.
So
We're moving over to the NFC?
moving over to the NFC now, and let's do the worst division ever, the NFC East. Who is your division winner there?
Every freaking year, every media outlet, everybody gets high on the Cowboys. And I can understand why. They're the most profitable team. They've got Ezekiel Elliott, big name. Dak Prescott's beloved by all the media people.
Yeah, Skip Bayless.
Yeah, pretty much. I've never been high on the Cowboys.
Can we get a clip here real quick of Stephen A. Smith walking around his cowboy hat saying, "How about them Cowboys?"
Yeah.
Let's plug that in right now.
About them Cowboys!
All
Alright,
right.
back to you.
So the Cowboys, until they prove me wrong, I'm not going to believe in them. Giants, no. Eagles, I like Jalen Hurts, but I'm not sure yet. And
They got a no-name coach. They got a no-name
Yeah.
coach. We don't even know who this guy is. He just picked him up off the street.
Pretty much. I do like the Devonta Smith pick, but honestly, I feel like I got to go Washington. They've got the best defense in the NFL. Probably them right behind it's them or the Bucks.
I don't know about the best. I'm going to say top 5.
Okay, from a
Top 5 defenses.
pass rush,
Here's the
pass
thing.
rush to the best.
Yes, front 7, yes. Top
Front
5
seven.
defenses in the NFL right now. No particular order.
Okay.
The football team,
Yep.
Steelers,
Yep.
Broncos,
Okay. Bucks,
Buccaneers,
Rams or Browns? Probably Browns. I'd say Browns over them because Browns have Denzel Ward. The Rams have Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. Honestly, Quinn, you might have to take out the Steelers and put the Rams there, or take the Broncos out. I would rather have the Rams over the Broncos defense.
Okay, we didn't even have a 5th team yet, so how are we
Browns.
just
Make the Browns the 5th, and then take out the.
I think you have to take out the Broncos because they weren't top 5 last year.
Take out the
Steelers
Broncos.
were top 5. They were
Yeah,
top
exactly.
2, so
It should be Steelers. It should be Steelers.
Browns,
Rams.
football team, Rams, Bucks.
Yeah, Bucks might be the best defense overall just based off what we saw in the playoffs, but we'll see what happens this year.
Yes.
But Washington, I mean, Chase Young's a beast. We all know that. He's going to be in Defensive Player of the Year conversations potentially. So other than, the real thing is they've got good wide receivers.
Yes.
Gibson, McLaurin, even
They just released Steven Sims though,
Mm-hmm.
and
even McKissick was solid for them.
killed the Steelers. Logan Thomas killed the Steelers.
Yeah. Really, quarterback's a question for them, but, I mean, we've seen before that just because, Jimmy Garoppolo's your starter, if you have a good defense, you can go places. I'm saying the Niners in 2019, Quinn.
I know that, but I don't know why I'm bringing him up.
Well, I'm saying
But
he's
I got Fitzmagic, baby.
He's a good quarterback.
Fitzmagic.
He's a good quarterback, not an amazing one, but he's got a great offense and a great
Fitzmagic?
defense. You think Fitzmagic's better than Garoppolo then?
Okay, how would we get from the NFC East to the NFC West?
I'm just discussing the possibility of a team that has a good offense, a great defense, and a decent quarterback, and how far that can go. Because that's what the Niners were that year. It was a good offense, an amazing defense, and a decent quarterback.
That's an argument, yes.
I think Garoppolo's pretty good, but
Okay.
it's not like he's
So
top
you're
10.
just replicating this in in the NFC East. What are you replicating this for?
I'm saying Washington could look like that team.
Okay,
on a
that's what I
lesser scale.
thought.
They're
That's
probably
what
not going
I'm
to lose
trying
only
to
like
get
2
out of here.
games, but I think
it's going to be the Heineke Fitzmagic
toss around.
toss around.
Yeah, pretty
partnership.
much. Partnership. Yeah, let's go with that.
It's a corporation.
Sounds
it's
like that.
LLC or something.
Are
like that.
you taking Washington?
Obviously, I'm taking Washington.
Well, you and I were super high on them last year.
Yes, I do like them. I mean, those Cowboys aren't going to be even close.
No.
They're going to have no spurs on their boots by the time the season's over. So I'm going to have to go with...
Until they prove
I'm
me wrong, I
sorry.
don't trust them.
That was a shitty joke. But I'm going to have to definitely go with those people. The Washington football team. So Fitzmagic still just wowed me last year when you remember when the Dolphins played the Raiders on a
Yes,
Saturday night and he
yes,
made that Hail Mary
yes,
throw and there was a
yes.
face mask and he still got it off and yeah.
He's Fitzmagic.
Yes, he's Fitzmagic, all right.
You just better hope he doesn't become Fitztragic.
Yes, this is true. So,
They won the division last year.
They did.
I believe they can do it again. They look better than they did last year.
Yes, I think they'll win. I first wrote it down. I think they're gonna have a 10-7 record, which is better than last year.
That's a lot better. I mean, last year
They were 6-10.
yeah. So
I mean,
yeah, 7-9.
7-9. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yep. Well, you want to move on to the NFC South?
Let's move up.
Or do you want to do North? What do you want to do?
You
West
know,
last,
you
right?
want to go to the West last? That's fine. Yes. Let's go to the North because it's
Okay, yeah. It's Packers and then we'll keep an eye on the Bears, right?
No, it's Packers and keep an eye on the Vikings.
Okay, what's your Vikings take? You go first.
Okay, my Vikings take is Kirk Cousins is still pretty good statistically.
Yep.
The defense is top 10.
Yep.
And Mike Zimmer's a good coach.
Yep.
So that's a
Well,
recipe
they have one of
for
my
something.
favorite wide receivers, period, Justin Jefferson. He's
Yes.
so good. So good.
Still
Dalvin
Adam
Cook's
Thielen.
amazing.
Still have Adam Thielen.
Yep. Dalvin Cook's amazing. Thing with the Bears is the Bears I think the Bears have had a really good defense in the past.
Yeah. They got the red rifle.
And
The red.
yeah, Dalton. Yeah. The Red Rocket.
The red. It's the red rifle.
It's Red Rifle? I've heard it called Rocket too.
I'm gonna look it up while Ryan talks.
Well, as soon as they decide Fields is the quarterback, they'll be one of the most watched teams in the NFL because everybody's interested to see how Fields does. And even I am. I want to see how well Fields does. I think
he's gonna be in there. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It is the red rifle. It is the red rifle.
Nice.
Now they have this promotion for a rifle that the Red Rifle is holding. It's called the Red Rider.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
So,
dumb.
Justin Fields, as soon as they decide Justin Fields is the quarterback, maybe that's week 2, maybe that's week 8.
Yeah.
If he's in there for 12 games and they end up being a wild card team, he'll win Rookie of the Year.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that.
So I think Fields has really looked great in the preseason stuff. I'm really interested to see what the Bears can do, and I'm saying the Vikings are the opposite of that from a quarterback perspective. Kirk Cousins is not exciting. So watch out when people play the Bears.
Right.
Because the Lions, they're definitely in a rebuilding stage.
Right.
And I think the Bears are the most fun team in this division by a mile. And this potentially could be the Aaron Rodgers Last Dance storyline.
It could be.
So I'm already saying if Rodgers can win a Super Bowl with this team, that's a lot for his legacy. This is like 2 rings. You know what I mean?
This is 2 rings.
This is essentially like winning 2 rings because you're coming back. So I would like to see what Rodgers. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but if they does, all props to Rodgers because that's incredible.
Right.
So, yeah.
I think the one question I got big for the Vikings is this, and it's just like what happened to the Broncos last year. Remember the Broncos last year had all 4 of their quarterbacks quarantined.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, because now the NFL is doing their protocols on vaccination rates, none of the Vikings quarterbacks are vaccinated. So let's just say, for the fathom chance somebody gets it and they're all quarantined, they're just in trouble like the Broncos, and that could be out 2 games. Possible, depending on where it falls.
You're right. Yeah.
You think about it, it could be if you got it on a Friday, you'd be out for that Sunday, and then the next Sunday, because it's 10 days, you got to be out. So
yeah.
So I mean, that's their only dilemma right now. But other than that, I mean, I'm interested to see the Vikings make a bounce back, and Mike Zimmer, like I said, he's a good coach. I mean, they should have been in the Super Bowl that year. I mean,
yeah.
Play better defense there.
Yeah.
I mean, no. I'm sorry. The Saints got beat.
Yeah.
Minneapolis
Yes.
Miracle.
Yeah.
Excuse me. They would have played the 49ers.
Yes.
And they were at San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't remember that game at all, but I do remember the Saints game. That's all I can say. Anywho, down to the unexciting NFC South.
It's exciting for me, baby.
Exciting for you, but not for me.
Bucks are going to win it, but keep the eye on the Panthers. I think the Falcons are obviously in the rebuilding stage. The Saints, I don't think are going to be any good. I think Winston might surprise people, but I'm not high on the Saints at all. I think the Panthers are really building something. They're not going to win the division this year. They probably won't even win it the next year. But they're looking like they're going to take over. Is
Sam Darnold a comeback player of the year?
Ooh, if they
or
make
most improved, is they come back?
That'd be comeback, yeah. If they make the wild card, he wins it, no question.
Okay.
And they do have the best running back in football, like overall as a running back.
Maybe
it's him or Henry. So
it's Henry.
Probably Henry. I don't
Still,
know. I don't
top
know.
5 running back. Anyway.
I'm wearing a shirt right now, and you're insulting.
Okay, but he's
I'm
always
just
injured.
kidding. Yeah,
so,
that's true. That's true. You got to factor that in. Yeah,
I got to factor in Dalvin Cook.
that's true. So wide receiver core, they got Robbie Anderson, who was really good last year.
Yes.
DJ Moore, who's very good,
Yeah.
and I think he's gonna have a big year.
Yeah.
And we lost Curtis Samuel, which hurts,
Yes.
but Terrence Marshall Jr., that guy I liked from LSU,
Yes.
they took in the second
draft
round.
him.
And there's
Yes.
always some second round wide receiver that does
This
really
is
well.
true.
Last year was Claypool.
Claypool.
2 years ago was DK Metcalf and AJ
Yep.
Brown, so it almost always happens.
Yep.
So
4 years ago was Juju Smith-Schuster.
exactly.
Yep.
So
Go ahead.
I would like to see. I think the Panthers are really gonna have a good year, and you'll see later we're predicting both our favorite teams' records.
Yep.
And to be honest, I think they might be able to secure a wild card spot, but we'll talk about
That's
that in
your
a bit.
optimism.
Yes. What do you have?
Obviously, I have the Bucks winning the. You didn't even say the Bucks were winning.
No, I did.
think.
I said
You
the Bucks
did?
were winning, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the Bucks are winning the division, obviously, but I still think for their record-wise, it's going to be similar to last year's. They're not going to beat. They're not going to win. It's not going to be a 15-2, 14-3 campaign. It's going to be down in the 11-6, 12-5 region, but they'll win it. The Saints' question mark is who's going to be the quarterback long term? Will Jameis Winston be there all season, or will Taysom Hill take it over halfway through? The Falcons, the Falcons still have good pieces. They just need to actually win some games. And like I said last year,
Kyle Pitts.
Arthur Blank Jr. needs to stop getting on the field in the fourth quarter. Every game he was on the field in the fourth quarter, they blew the lead. So quit doing that this season, and maybe they'll win. That's all I'm going to say.
I have one more thing at the Panthers. The
Okay.
J.C. Horn, I think he's a good candidate for the Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to be a stud.
I don't even know any of the other rookies that are in the NFC that are going to be good for defense.
He's good.
It was a lot of tackles
He's
and
good.
a lot of offense.
He's a good
in the
corner.
first
He's a
round.
good corner, based off what I saw in preseason.
Well, you guys need help there, so I don't know what to say. But, all right, NFC West to close us out here.
Oh crap! Okay, the NFC actually really killed me on the wild cards when we get to the playoffs.
It did for me, too.
I might have to mix things up. I might not actually go off what I wrote. I have the Rams winning this. As soon as they got Stafford, I had them winning this. I like what the Rams got going on. I really think Matt Stafford's going to thrive in this offense. To be honest, I think they're a Super Bowl team. This is the best the Rams have ever looked.
Amen.
So I'm really high on the Rams this year. But I love the Cardinals. I love the Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler
If the Cardinals
Murray.
would stop shooting themselves in the foot, they'd actually win some games.
Yes, they
Go
would.
ahead.
So I like what they have going on. I think the Niners are poised for a big year. I think this is a Seahawks fall-off year.
No, I think because Russell Wilson's got an offensive coordinator that's going to let him cook in the kitchen, that he'll be cooking along.
You think he'll be cooking?
Yep. He'll
Could
be
we see
baking up
this?
a storm,
Is this a
baby.
division that makes every team makes playoffs?
Well,
I think that's the best chance.
I'm not going to say anything yet because I'm not in the playoff predictions, but I will say I do have the Rams winning this, and the Seahawks are going to be a close second.
I'm going to tell you right now,
Cardinals,
I'm
and
not
then the
going off my
49ers.
paper for the wild card. I've changed my mind.
Okay.
Looking through
Well,
this, it's
I
too
haven't
much.
changed my mind, but I do have a toss-up in the 7th seed for the NFCs.
All right.
If you want to go ahead, you want to do your AFC
Playoffs?
playoff predictions,
All right.
we'll go from top seed to the bottom seed.
All right, with the first seed, we have the Kansas City Chiefs.
And what do you have a record for them, or are you just going off teams?
I'm just going off team. Do you want me to do record? Because I can do record.
Do you have a top?
I'll have the Chiefs going 15-2.
Okay.
I feel like that's probably reasonable.
Okay. I'm going to write your record beside my record.
All right.
Go ahead.
The Browns, second seed. I have them going 14-3. Don't you dare laugh.
They will not be going 14-3.
The Bills, third. I have them going 12-5.
I can't believe you're the Browns going 14-3. That's not going to be happening.
I guess you're right. They do have to play a lot of good teams. We'll see.
Go ahead.
Don't start going through their schedule. You're going to make... All right. Titans, I have them going 11-6. I know I kind of just counted down, but I also improvised it. And on top of that,
Okay.
it's kind of how I feel like it's going to shake out.
Browns got to play the Chiefs, Vikings, Chargers, Cardinals, Steelers twice, Ravens twice, Patriots, who you're very high on.
Crap.
You gotta play the Raiders, Packers.
Okay.
AFC North has to slaughter.
Yeah, they have to slaughter.
They have a lot of.
All right, I'm going to
outside
make a quick
divisions.
change.
Go ahead.
Now I'm really thinking this. Put the Titans as the 2, put the Browns as the 4. Switch them, because the Titans play nobody.
Okay, just switch those. Records.
Switch the records.
Okay.
Just do it like that.
All right,
So the
that's all I
Titans
did.
now move to
Yes.
14-3. The Browns are now 11-6. Correct?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
I am agonizing right now because the Reds and Cubs are tied at 1.
Good.
Bottom of 9.
Good.
Bottom of 9.
Go
excuse
Cubbies.
me.
So,
Come on, Red Legs.
all right. Wild cards. This is where I was having some pain. All right, Quinn. So, my 5th seed are the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
I'm going to have them going 10-7, I think.
Okay, same
I
as
feel like
me.
that's reasonable.
Yes.
So that's the 5th seed. The 6th seed is the Ravens. I have them going also 10-7. I feel like that's probably about right. I'm not sure. I think 9-8 is also very reasonable. So, and then lastly, the Chargers. I'm actually going to flip this. Is that all right? Can I make a flip? I think the Chargers will be the 6. The Ravens will be the 7. Ravens will be the 7 at 9-8. Chargers will be the 6 at 10-7.
Okay. And you got
So,
that.
yes, I did not include the Steelers. I had to pick them or the Ravens. I chose the Ravens. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. Don't worry, I'll pick them myself. And, yeah. So, I'm going to shake it up a little bit, and I'll take the Bills as the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Whoa.
They're 14-3. The Chiefs second, 13-4. The Titans third, 12-5, and they break the tiebreaker with the Browns. The Browns will go 12-5 and be into the 4th seed. 5th seed, first wild card, Steelers 11-6. The 6th seed, the Chargers 10-7, and they break the tiebreaker with the 7th seed, Dolphins, who are 10-7 as well.
So, who was your 5? Steelers. Gotcha.
5, yes.
Gotcha.
Steelers.
Well, I think your take about Miami is probably more correct than mine, to be honest. But
I like them.
I just
like them a lot.
I don't like. I'm not fully trusting the Steelers this year. I just got a bad feeling about it. So,
Okay.
do you want to do NFC
I
first?
just
Or want me to
want to
go?
say that nobody trusted the Steelers last year, and they
That's
did
true.
go 12
That's true.
and 5.
That's very true,
They
Quinn.
blew it in the
Very
last.
true.
They blew it in the end, but that's all I can say.
Do you wanna go first?
I will go first for the NFC. That's fine. I can do that. All right, in NFC, I got the Packers being the number 1 seed again, 13-4.
Yep.
Rams 2 seed, 12-5. They break the tie with the 3 seed, the Buccaneers, 12-5. The 4th seed, the Washington Football Team, they're 10-7. And the wild card, the first one is the 5th seed, the Seattle Seahawks at 12-5. The 6th seed are the Arizona Cardinals at 11-6. And the 7th seed, this one's a tough one, and it's a toss-up between the Vikings and the 49ers at 10-7, and I just can't choose yet.
You want me to go and then you choose?
I'll choose right now. I'll have to go with the 49ers.
Good. That's what I was hoping.
Because
That's a much better pick. I'm not high
Because
on
the
the Vikings.
NFC West gets all the way in. But go ahead.
All right. So here I go. I think the Packers with the 1 is right. It's not what I had written down, but it makes more sense now. I'm sitting here.
You got your record?
Yep, 13-4. I think that's probably correct. Rams
Okay.
going 12-5. That's their 2 seed. That's
Oh,
correct.
thank you.
Because yeah, they play a lot of tough teams. The Bucks, I think, honestly, might. I can't not have Washington be the least out of the division. So the Bucks I'll have 3rd at 11-6. Brady doesn't really care about the regular season. Washington Football Team 10-7 sounds about right to me.
Oh, well, thank you.
So
You're reaffirming me.
yeah, I am.
Good.
Wild card. This is where I hate it because I don't know about the Seahawks. I'm gonna be honest, but you're right. They got the new OC. Russ is gonna have a bit.
Be cooking in the kitchen, baby. Baking at 350 all damn day. That's what it's going to be. Pies and cakes
My
and turkeys.
5. See, I want to go Niners because I like what the Niners got going on. But Trey Lance, I'm not sure how
question
early
mark.
they're gonna start Trey Lance.
Well, maybe Garoppolo comes out and he's awesome. You don't know that.
We'll put the Niners 5th, and I'll have them go 10-7. They'll have the same record as WFT.
Okay.
They're a good team. Then the 6 will be Panthers 9-8. Don't laugh.
Laughing.
7 will be either the Cardinals or the Seahawks. I'm gonna go Seahawks.
Okay.
At
9-8.
what?
9-8.
Yep. Actually, no. I want them 8-1.
Exactly 500 and odd seasons again.
Yes. Because I feel like they're gonna lose a good amount of games. So
Yes.
that's just my feeling.
Okay.
So-
you wanna? Oh right. You would keep talking about that, or I was gonna?
Nope. It's up to you. You go.
Well, thank you, because I guess I'm the host.
Yeah, you're the host.
Well, I was gonna say, if you have any comments on what you on the Panthers' schedule, you picked them 9-8. You got any comments on that? I mean, tough games, whatever.
Well, Let me pull it up real quick because I don't have it memorized. I'm sorry.
know.
Do you have the Steelers schedule memorized?
No, I know their opponents,
Okay.
but I don't know.
Well, I do know week 1 playing the Jets. Yep. Yeah. So I like that matchup. I feel like they purposely did that.
It's a revenge date for Sam Darnold.
Oh, yeah. So we got the revenge for Sam Darnold. I think that's going to be a fun game. Week 2 is Baltimore Ravens. That's where things... Oh, no, sorry. I don't know why it's pulling that up. It pulled up the wrong year. Sorry about that. Week 2 is the Saints. I think that's where things kind of get a little real. Because that's going to prove, are the Saints real or the Panthers real? What's going on? So we have to win that game. Texans, that should be a cakewalk unless we're bad. So we're going to figure out real quick how good the Panthers are because they play the Jets, the Saints, the Texans, the Cowboys. None of these teams should be good. The Panthers should start off 4-0. The only real test you get is on October 10th, week 5, you play the Eagles. So that team should be decent. The Panthers need to win that. They play the Vikings. That's a game you can lose, but you really don't want to lose.
Right.
So I'm saying, you're looking at this, Quinn. They don't have that hard of a schedule.
Well, no, I would say
in the beginning
when they get past Halloween,
yes.
they have a slog.
So let's move down to when things get real because they play the Falcons, the Patriots, the Cardinals. So at this point, honestly, this is what week is this? 10 weeks in. They should legitimately.
Do they have their bye? No, they haven't had their bye yet. Okay, so yes, so 10 weeks.
They should legitimately be at like an 8-2 record.
Yes.
If they're a good team. So that's what and then they can lose. I mean, I had them at a 10-7 record. So they play Washington, they could lose that.
You got 9-8 actually, so you got plenty of time.
Yeah, I got plenty. Washington they can lose, Dolphins they can lose.
Cardinals.
They play the Cardinals, they can lose that. Falcons they should win, but maybe the Falcons squeak one out, you never know.
Yeah.
Then the Bills are probably going to lose. Bucks are going to lose both times.
Yep.
And Saints, they should win again. So, really, I mean, you're making fun of me, but I do think they don't have that hard of a schedule.
Right.
And they're supposed to, basically the whole thing is this. If Sam Darnold's good, they're going to make playoffs. If Sam Darnold isn't, we're not going to make playoffs. It's that simple.
I mean, to go to my team with the Steelers, I'm thinking, got a slog at the end of the year. Literally have to play Chargers. Easier game against the Bengals, but the last 6 games, home against Ravens, at Vikings, home against Titans, at Chiefs, home against Browns, at Ravens.
Whoa.
So it's going to be a slog.
That's a slog.
So if the Steelers can go 3-3 in that, I'm going to be happy with that. But we'll see what happens.
Super Bowl time? Or AFC Championship,
yes,
NFC
real
Championship?
quick, we got to do the Super Bowl.
So we doing AFC Championships, NFC Championship, then Super Bowl? Let's do the Conference Championships. I want to do it. Can you do the Conference Championships?
Well, might be more biased than you want it to be, but yes.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead with your championship.
Well, I had the Bucks 3 and the Rams 2. I think that'll be the championship. And I'm going to take the Rams. The Rams are going to the Super Bowl. That is my pick.
That's your pick.
I think this is the Rams' revenge for Brady tearing the crap out of them in Super Bowl 53. But granted, if you tell me it's a Chiefs-Bucks Super Bowl 56, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I just think I like what the Rams got going on this year. So, Rams in the NFC.
Yes.
AFC, I got it Browns-Chiefs. AFC Championship. I'm doing it.
Okay.
Taking the Browns.
Okay.
Browns over Rams in the Super Bowl. In LA.
I'm still laughing.
It's in LA. Super Bowl 56. Browns are winning it. I got a bet with some of my buddies. If the Browns are in the Super Bowl, we have to go.
Who is this with? Is this with AJ?
Mason and Michael Rose and all those guys. It's cross-country guys.
Okay, good.
So, I want to see it happen. I think this is the best the Browns have looked.
Oh, yeah. Since Jim Brown.
Yeah, so I think if the Rams can stave off Brady for you. Here's my thing. If the Browns make it to the Super Bowl, they're winning. But if they don't, I think the Rams got it.
No.
The Rams, Chiefs, Bucks are like the 3 teams that really stand out, and the Browns. It's like the 4. So, to me, those are your 4 biggest contenders. Packers are a fringe.
Right. I mean, I think in the AFC, I'm going to go for the championship game. I'm not going to go for the obvious. I'm going to go
Bills.
with this crazy thing.
You're going to go Bills?
I'm going to go Bills.
Yep.
I think I'm going to go Bills-Titans.
Whoa!
And
that honestly doesn't sound that weird.
And we'll take the Bills.
Okay.
And NFC, I think I'm going to take... I'm going to go crazy and go to the top 2. I'll take Packers, Rams, and take Rams over it, and take the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Rams.
Actually, you know what? the Rams are getting too much hype, and the Bills are getting too much hype. They'll both lose out before I even get there. So I mean, I'll still lose no matter what, but we'll take the Bills instead because
Bills over Rams.
Yes, because I root for the AFC. You know I do.
So to be honest, I feel like if the Titans made it to the AFC Championship, Derrick Henry would just be like, screw it, we're getting to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And I think that'd be. I almost prefer in your world a Titans-Rams Super Bowl. I feel like that's a little more likely.
Yes.
But granted, everybody's super high on the Bills except me, so you know.
Yeah. But
I just don't know if they can replicate. It's very much like I talked before. I have to see year 2 of Josh Allen to believe.
yes.
So
Okay. Real quick, we got to do the official Big Salad teams, and my nomination for the Big Salad team
NFC?
for the AFC.
okay, for the AFC first.
AFC first would be it's a tie,
Okay.
and hopefully one of your team is one of these two.
Okay.
It's between the Jaguars and the Chargers. What
Okay.
do you say in the AFC?
I was actually thinking Jaguars, Chargers, Patriots. Those are the 3 I was thinking about. But honestly, I think it's the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm fine with
I
think Herbert's going to be really
Do we
good
need to
this
explain
year.
what the Big Salad team is?
The Big Salad team is the team that the podcast is rooting for because we think they're going to do really good and improve from last year.
And we think it's fun. They're probably not a Super Bowl team. It's just what we
No.
enjoy watching and what we're going to talk
Right.
about a lot.
It's like the watchables when you do for the on
Yes,
the regular.
exactly.
On the regular
And they will be the one that we consistently talk about. And if they do well, then it's Yippee, the podcast teams
Right,
did well. And
right.
we can't pick.
There's no pool on this.
And we can't really pick a team that either of us are fans for.
Exactly.
They're off limits.
That's kind of the limit.
So
Yes.
I think Chargers. It's Chargers Jaguars really to me.
Yeah.
I think Jaguars are fun
They're
because,
interesting.
but they might have to be it next year.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Give 'em a year to
Give 'em a
rebuild.
year. Yes, I agree.
So yeah, I go Chargers. They got
Okay.
Justin Herbert. We already talked about how we
Yes.
like Eckler. We like
Yes.
Keenan Allen's good.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely them.
Yes. Now for the NFC, who are you thinking?
Okay. See, last year it was very clearly Washington. Very clearly Washington. So I'm gonna say Washington
Okay.
and Chicago.
Okay, I'm not saying either of those.
Okay.
I'm going to nominate the Rams because
You just want to go full on Rams?
full on Rams.
I'll go Rams.
You go Rams?
Yes,
All right,
I'm
because
cool with
I
that.
really am looking forward to seeing Stafford be plugged
Me
into
too.
the offense.
Me too.
And see how those things are going to go. The defense should be okay and those kinds of things. But
I'm great.
I'm
I'm
going
happy
for
with
the
the Rams.
Rams.
I'm very happy with that.
Yes.
So that would be the Rams for the NFC
Yes.
and the Chargers for the AFC. If that was the Super Bowl, it would be a lot of California and a lot of blue and yellow.
Yes.
So
yes,
I
they're
guess
gonna
we
have
have
to
a.
change-
I guess the
they're gonna have
podcast has a
to- They're
type.
going to have to change black and yellow to blue and yellow.
Yes.
The song.
The song. That's what they'll do
Okay.
that for the Super Bowl hype.
But, all right. You want to do your awards or you want
Yeah,
to
this is
skip
gonna be
them?
very quick.
Okay.
So for
Run
the
it down.
for the rookie of the year, we'll start rookie of the year. Honestly, I do think it's gonna be Fields, but sleeper would be Mac Jones.
Okay.
So think Fields is probably gonna get it done. Could be Mac Jones. Granted, I could just go obvious and pick Lawrence, but I don't know. I feel like it's just
Okay.
I
This
don't
is
know.
offensive rookie of the year, by the way.
Yeah. Defensive, like I said, I think J.C. Horn for the Panthers. Comeback player of the year would be Sam Darnold, but there's good potential there for Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Defensive player of the year will be Myles Garrett.
No DJ Watt?
No, it's Myles Garrett.
Okay.
So that's a done deal for me. And then MVP is where it gets interesting.
Okay.
A running back isn't going to win MVP, but I think Nick Chubb, if the Browns really do as well as I think so, I would love to see it happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
You
I
and
should
your
stop it.
Browns.
Yeah.
Anti-Browns.
Honestly, though, if if the Rams do as well as I'm thinking, I think it could be Matt Stafford. Genuinely.
It could be.
It could be
I
Matt Stafford.
agree with that.
So I think Matt Stafford's going to be the pick, but it's very tentative because this is a really toss-up year. I mean, Mahomes, there's a really good chance for Mahomes. I want to say Mahomes, but I feel like it's a little obvious because I'm a big Mahomes backer, so I don't want to say Mahomes. So it's like, really, if you put a gun to my head, I'd say Mahomes, Rodgers, Stafford. Those would be the 3, and then Russell Wilson, Josh Allen. Those would be the
Okay.
5. So, but I do think very good chance that it is Matt Stafford. So that's who I'm going to take.
I mean, those are reasonable picks. Well, that's it for our NFL predictions, and now let's back to our games that we have here on the
Sounds
Big Salad
good.
Podcast. We're going to play some toss-up today and throw it to Ryan. Who will win the final wild card spot in the National League for MLB? The San Diego Padres or the Cincinnati Reds?
Padres all the way. It's very obvious. I'm a bit of a homer for this one because I love Tatis, and I think the Padres are the better team. And right now, we're going to extra innings for the Cubs Reds, and Patrick Wisdom, my guy, just went up to bat, and he singled. So Patrick Wisdom, for
Didn't
those
do
of you,
anything.
I thought I said he singled.
It's in play.
Oh, there it is. Oh, he did. He singled.
Yes, but nobody scored. International
There's
tiebreaker.
no outs.
I will rail against international tiebreaker because the Reds have been screwed on that multiple times this year.
Yeah.
Anywho.
For those Cubs fans, there's probably going to be a special section coming up soon about why Patrick Wisdom should be your new favorite Cub. But that's not what the special section is this week. So.
I'm actually going to have to go with the Padres as well, even though I'm not going to be a homer for my Reds. So the Reds have been trending in the wrong direction. The Padres, well, they've been floating around. Now, statistically, the Padres have the harder schedule, but the Reds, who have 10 games against the Pirates, seem to be blowing it against these weaker teams. So, I mean, they really should truly get to 90 wins this year and make the playoffs. But we'll see. They got a tough. Their two toughest series they have left are the Dodgers and the White Sox.
I just really hope that the Dodgers lose enough games that they're in the wild card against the Padres, and I don't have to put the great Giants in the wild card. I would hate that. Because the Dodgers are beatable in one game, like one wild card game, but in a five or seven game series, it's horrible.
Yeah, and for the Reds, I would rather play the Dodgers because we beat the Dodgers.
Exactly.
We tied them in the first series 2-2.
Because they'll start Walker Buehler, no matter they're going to start Walker Buehler,
no matter what. Even over Kershaw, even over Scherzer.
Yep, they'll start Walker Buehler for the
Is
wild
he a
card.
lefty or a righty?
You asked me too soon.
See, here's the thing. I think he's a righty.
Yeah.
If they're playing the Reds struggle against left-handed pitching, so they probably start Kershaw.
Kershaw's great, but he's not. I mean, early on in his career, he had postseason struggles. So
He did.
What's the next question, Quinn?
Last one. Who is the better bet to go back to the Super Bowl? The Kansas City Chiefs or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Honestly, if we just went chalk and said this was the Super Bowl prediction, we might be more right than what we went with.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say Chiefs just because Brady was extremely hungry last year, and I think Mahomes is hungry this year because of that. So I'm saying Brady was mad and wanted to prove Belichick wrong.
Right,
now Mahomes wants to be like, hey, we didn't win it last year, so we're coming back.
He did.
Which would be 3 straight Super Bowls and 2 wins. That'd be pretty impressive.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna
More than Aaron Rodgers, maybe.
I'm gonna go with the Chiefs as well because I think they do have a better selection. Even though that Tampa Bay's bringing back all of their defense, and Tom Brady's still there, but I still think the Chiefs are a better bet. And now it's up to Ryan's special section. Go ahead, Ryan.
All right, we're getting near the end here, so let's go to special section. Now, this is a pretty quick one. Nothing really exciting. Well, I mean, I think it's pretty interesting, but it's not super sexy, super exciting. Just a little bit of numbers for you. So the New York Yankees, at the deadline, Quinn, made a lot of big trades.
Yes, I did.
So I looked at their team stats, not player stats, just overall team statistics and what has gotten better for them since they made the trade. So were these trades worth it? So pre-All-Star break, so before the trade deadline, before they had made these moves, their team average was .236, which was 10th best in the MLB. Not 10th best in the MLB. I did not mean to say that.
Yeah.
Yes,
you did.
No, it's not. No, I didn't. Look, the Cubs are right here, and they're
tied 10.
I need to sort it by average.
You didn't sort it by average.
I need to sort it by average. It caught me off guard. I feel dumb
Yeah, they're
now.
17th.
There it is. They were 17th with .236. Their on-base percentage was .323, and their slugging was .394, sitting them at a .718 OPS. So during this period, they were third in their division. Right now, they're 9.5 games back from Rays, but the Rays actually have the best record in baseball right now, unless you're the San Francisco Giants. So the Rays right now are tied with the Dodgers, but they have the best record in the AL. The Rays have been kicking it, which I think everybody knows the Rays have been kicking it. So really, the Yankees are on this huge winning streak. In the last 10 games, they went 2-8, but before that, they were on an 11-game win streak until the Athletics snapped it. So let's look at their post-All-Star break statistics, in which the New York Yankees have been...
Hey, they say right here it's a .236.
.236 again. So if you look at those moves, it's the exact same batting average, which I find interesting. Which then means that what's interesting about this, though, is that their slugging has actually gone up. It used to be it's a lot of numbers for me, 394, and now their slugging is a 402. So they're hitting the exact same amount of getting the exact same amount of hits, but they now have better They're getting more bases on those hits. They're hitting more doubles. They're hitting more home runs. So their OPS is now a 726, whereas it used to be a 718. So basically the point of this is the numbers are borderline the same.
Right.
From a statistical perspective, the New York Yankees are almost the exact same team. But they've won way more games, and they're going to be a playoff team. They're going to be a wild card team. So I'm just saying it's really interesting to me where baseball's a very stat-based sport, but just something like that where the energy on the field and they're just winning the right games, and it's very interesting to me. They're just flat out a better team from a personality perspective, and like statistically, they're almost the same. So they were on a really hot stretch there. If we looked at this a month ago, there would be a big difference. But they've kind of evened out and lost some games recently, which made the stats almost the same, and I found that interesting. You'd think they'd be very different. When I started researching this, I actually thought they'd be very different, and they're not. And I think it's almost more interesting because it just shows that while Anthony Rizzo isn't really changing the numbers incredibly, that team is better now.
Yeah.
So I wish he was on the Cubs. So, yeah, that's the special section. It's just the Yankees are better and almost the same statistically, which is kind of weird.
And maybe the concern should be that the Astros have the highest team average.
Yeah, that should be their current. Yeah.
I mean, did they ban the trash cans from the dugouts? I hope they did.
Yeah, I don't know where they're throwing things away then.
Well, shouldn't be banging trash cans to cheat on signs, right?
Exactly.
That's what it should be.
That's the punishment, is you have to just pick up all the trash later, put it in the dumpster.
Sounds like
You
a
get
George.
to keep your
sounds
rings.
like a George Costanza.
You get to keep
line.
the World Series rings,
Yes.
boys, but you got to pick up your own
Pick up all
trash.
your own trash now. Dusty Baker will get it together and get some integrity there.
I will say, a Yankees-Red Sox wild card game would be pretty awesome.
I agree.
Go Red Sox in that, though. I hate the Yankees.
Yes, I like the Red Sox better. All right.
Xander Bogaerts, he's great.
Yes, I did listen to their game against the Indians recently.
Mm-hmm.
On the radio. So, because they played them, literally, they played 7 games in about 10 days against the Red Sox, I believe. It was something crazy to that effect, how the schedule went. But if that's it for Ryan's special section,
Yep, that is.
it's time for Happy Time, people. Happy 17th birthday, belated, to Ryan Klinger, our producer here.
Oh, thank you.
And Ryan's highlights in his life are he's achieves highly academically, he's an athlete, and, well, he's also a commentator at our live streams last year.
Yep.
I mean, are there going to be more opportunities for that this year or no?
I'm not 100% sure yet. We're not sure what's going to go on with the sports streaming because we're back into school and everything, so we're not sure.
Okay. Well, I just had to go shout out to the producer. We did celebrate. I had to take him to Fred's Ice Cream. Never been to in Marion. If you've never been, you need to go to Fred's because it's cheap for big ice cream, and that's what everybody needs to care about in life. But on to another happy birthday shout out. Happy 38th birthday this Friday, Joey Votto. And Joseph.
Wait a minute.
What?
You went off script. My birthday wasn't in there. I'm just messing with you.
How about I direct the show, you produce
I know,
it.
I'm just messing with you. You're always very tight on the script. I
am, but I had to keep it secret sometimes, you know. Joseph Daniel Votto turned 38 on Friday. He was drafted by the Cincinnati Reds out of high school in 2002 and debuted in the major leagues in 2007. For the Reds, he switched back and forth at first base for his first full season in 2008 and then won the job in 2009. He won the National League's MVP award in 2010 with 37 home runs and 113 RBIs. And he reached a 2,000 hit milestone this past season. He is also one of the only Canadian MLB players to hit 300 home runs and 1,000 RBIs in their career. Ryan, anything to say about old Joey Votto?
Well, he just lost the game. Jason Hayward walked it off.
Well, I don't know what you expect because I hate the international tiebreaker. I'll say it again. I can't.
It gives a lot of benefit to the bunt because if you bunt and get the guy on third,
it doesn't even matter.
then you get a pop
it's
out.
benefit to the offense. It's not anything to the pitcher.
Oh yeah.
So
there's a lot of issues. They should just Rob Manfred should just let us run it.
Or how about you change it instead of doing the American tiebreaker? Excuse me, they have to start at first instead of second.
Yeah, I like that. I mean,
that's an issue.
All right. Well, we've talked about Joey Votto a lot on this podcast in last season.
Because you were amazed at his statistics.
He really surprised me. It was like researching the Yankees, where I expected him to just be pretty decent, and then I was like, holy crap, he's amazing. So, I mean, he's been my thank you multiple times on the podcast. I think I've given multiple thank yous. He's been incredible his whole career, and he's having a really good year this year. He deserves it. He's a really great player, and he's the face of the Reds because the MLB doesn't want to make it Pete Rose.
Yes.
Maybe get Hunter Green. Get Hunter Green out there.
He will be. I think he'll be in next year. I think he'll be in.
I hope so. I really like him.
I think he will be. Happy anniversary to Pete Rose, speaking of him.
Yep.
Pete Rose, on this day in 1985, as the player-manager for the Reds then, his first season is that, he tied Ty Cobb's record of 4,191 career hits, and he went on to break that, obviously, later on in his career. But Pete Rose, like we said, not allowed to go and has been banned from entering the Hall of Fame. He appealed, obviously, to Rob Manfred when he came in as commissioner. Still banned again. Hopefully, I think what they need to do is recognize him as what he did as a player and not as a manager.
Yes.
Get him in as a player. That's my opinion.
I also pulled up 4,256 hits.
Yes, I couldn't remember the exact number.
Yep.
He was in 4,200. Though.
So it's almost about 60 more. So a little more than 60 then.
Yep, but nobody else will ever even get close to that.
No, that's insane.
No,
So
because nobody plays every day like he did.
no, exactly. He was the Iron Man.
Right.
So Pete Rose, quite impressive career. We talk about him a lot on this podcast. He tends to come up in conversation. So.
He does.
Yeah, I don't know what else you got to say. He's
I mean,
an
how
incredible player.
How can you not have a conversation when he is the hit king of Major League Baseball? And a melancholy trails to Tunch Ilkin. Tunch Ilkin died on September 4th at age 63 from ALS. He spent most of his career in the NFL playing offensive tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers for 13 seasons and for the Green Bay Packers for 1. He was a color commentator for the Pittsburgh Steelers on their radio network for 22 years. He learned about this diagnosis of ALS 2 years ago, and he decided to stay on for one more season before he retired before the 2020 season. Sadly, he died quicker than anybody expected. So rest in peace, Tunch Ilkin. That's somebody you have to research.
Yeah, I was like, I heard the name before.
In the dead years of the Steelers, the 80s.
Really?
Because, the Steelers were not that good in the 80s.
Well, yes, rest in peace to Tunch Ilkin, is that how you said it?
Tunch
Ilkin?
Tunch Ilkin, yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of an odd thing. There's a lot of, they did the big, MLB did the big ALS awareness. There are a lot of, it seems to be a big, in the sports world, you hear about a lot of Lou Gehrig's disease deaths and things.
Yes.
So I think it's just an odd coincidence. But yes, happy trails to Ilkin.
Any thank yous you have for today?
Oh, I always have a thank you. So that's how we're going to close it out.
And anything you got to plug? You got to plug anything?
We actually now have a Sort of Sports Podcast Twitter.
Yes, definitely plug that. We need to get some
followers on there. It's at Sort of Sports Pod.
I assume you're going to, when there's a new episode, you'll tweet out the link.
Yes, all the links are tweeted.
I'll be retweeting that.
So, yes, all the links will be tweeted. It should be in the. I'll link it in the description of this video. The image is just Giannis Antetokounmpo, like pretty much everything for the podcast is at this moment. So he's the face of the podcast because he's my favorite athlete, and that's just kind of a thing. Mostly tweets about really just the sports stuff. Same type of stuff we talk about here, just a little more pro wrestling stuff. You've probably seen my pro wrestling. But the pro wrestling world's been getting crazy lately. So I'm going to address that on the new episode of the Sort of Sports Podcast. Oh, and AEW's been going. It's a lot of stuff. So it's a lot of more humorous stuff. There's a lot of jokes about Giannis Antetokounmpo being the best basketball player ever, which I don't honestly believe, but it's just part of the gag. So
yes,
you want some good humor. It's basically what we do here. Your sports commentary with some humor. And randomly pointing out the Miami Marlins have good pitching. So
yeah, Did
you see that one? Did you see that one?
The Reds.
Fifth best. Really quick thing.
Sandy Alcantara is very good.
Oh man, quick thing. It was. I checked this back. This was back in July. I went to Baseball Reference and I was like, holy crap, this isn't right. And I checked it again. I was like, no, that's right. All right. So. The Marlins have the fifth best ERA in the MLB, tied for fifth best at the time with the Rays, and every team above them and every team below them for 4 spots would be in the MLB playoffs if they started. So every team around them would be in the MLB playoffs except
Yeah.
them. So really, it's just their hitting that sucks because their pitching's
Yes.
amazing. Because the number one goal when you pitch is not to allow runs, and they're not.
Well, obviously.
So as long as you can score more than 3.55 runs,
Yeah.
which most teams should be able to do in some games, I mean,
Right.
on average.
Right.
Yeah, so whenever they get hitters, if the Marlins, build a team, because usually they like to sell everybody.
Yeah.
They're gonna be a heck of a team.
There, managing.
Yeah, so hopefully they get
something.
things together. But the big thank you this week.
Goes to Joey Votto.
No, he's like, he wins too many thank yous. I have to. The big thank you goes to Jason Hayward for walking off the Cubs-Reds game and having them lose. Thank you, Jason Hayward. I actually had a different thank you planned. It might have been Joey Votto, not gonna lie, but we're giving.
All those home runs. 9 home runs in 7 games.
He's like the poster boy for the thank yous. He gets so many thank yous.
He is. He stepped up when the Reds needed him. When Castellanos.
He's great. He's great. So thank you, Jason Hayward. But as always, thank you, Joey Votto. You're pretty great. So.
I just have a couple things to plug right now. First of all is Jeopardy is coming back. New season on Monday.
Okay.
Mayim Bialik, who former star of The Big Bang Theory, will be hosting the next.
So it's still guest
3 weeks.
host?
Yes, because
Well,
Mike
I'm gonna have
Richards
to pay
was not
attention so
there.
we can talk about the host.
Yes, so pay attention. And my second thing I'm going to plug is, and I just watched it this morning after I recorded it when it premiered last night, is the new season of American Crime Story. It's a sub version of American Horror Story, and it's about big crimes that went on. And this season is called Impeachment, and it's all about Clinton-Lewinsky affair, and I will give away what happened in the first episode last night, but it'll be an episode, probably about a 10-episode season, and I would say look out for that on FX. It's channel 248 on DirecTV. That is it.
That's it?
For episode 1 of season 2.
Do you want me to just label it as episode 9? Or do you want to be season 2, episode 1?
Ooh, do we want to do...
You want to do season 2?
Do you want to do season 2, episode 1,
Yep,
and
we can do that.
parentheses 9 overall, or can we do something like that? I don't know. It's too much.
I'll figure it out. Whatever I post, that'll be the official way we do it.
Okay.
So we'll talk
that's
about
fine.
it. We'll text about it.
That's fine. All right.
I'll check with you before I do it.
That sounds good. All right. Well, thank you for listening, and good night. This is Quinn Maseko speaking for the Big Salad Podcast, a Ryan Klinger production. Please note that portions of this podcast were edited before the final cut was produced, and this episode was recorded on September 8th. The sections of Toss-Up and Happy Time are copied from the ESPN show Pardon the Interruption, and there was no intention to infringe on that copyright and on the other segments of Seinfeld and Match Game as well, and their related music and audio. Stay tuned for our next podcast next Monday, September 13th, here on the Sort of Sorts Podcast YouTube channel.